All right, so cool. So we're just going to get started. Whether people are here or not, they can always come back later and watch the live when it's done, and hopefully love join in. So for those of you who don't know, I'm Jolene, and
I'm Samantha.
And I'm the owner of Psychic Harmony Group, and Samantha is co-owner of Soul Growth.
Tarot.
Soul Growth. There we go. The other group. So today we're going to be talking about what it means to be an empath, and grounding techniques and raising your vibration. And if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask. But so yeah, let's just kind of dive into it. So Samantha, I'm gonna just so I'm gonna talk about what it means for me. So basically, as an empath, we are able to feel the emotions of others and be able to connect with others through feeling or emotion, basically. And sometimes that means we can also feel things like physical pain, especially when connecting to, some empaths would be able to connect to past loved ones and to spirits. Well, I imagine we all could if we worked on it. But for some, it's more natural than others. So yeah, that's basically what it means to me. But it also means that you can be affected by the energies of others and those around you. So if you find yourself feeling overwhelmed and drained, it could, and you don't understand why, if there's no physical cause for it. Hey, Talia, welcome. If there's no physical cause, then chances are you are picking up on the energies of those around you. Is there anything you would like to add?
I mean, for me being an empath, I always equate it to kind of being a sponge, essentially, that we pick up on literally anything and everything. So we're constantly picking up on the energies of others, whether or not, sometimes we know that we're doing it. The same thing along with, like you said, we can pick up on sometimes those feelings are more intense. At times, the pain, the stress that we pick up on from other people, the anger, I think is one of the biggest things that easily picked up in other people's energy. So for me being an empath, I know that I'm going to feel things for other people because that's my empathy, is to feel their energy so I can feel what they're feeling, right? So in some ways it's a great thing to have. It is a very powerful thing. But that's also why we have those tools, those tips, those grounding techniques that we have, so that we're not picking up on things that maybe we don't necessarily want to pick up on that day or whatever.
That we don't need to, or that we don't need to retain. I mean, it may be necessary in the moment, but yeah, you don't need to hold on to that.
Yep, exactly.
And also, it doesn't just extend to people. Hey, Ali. It doesn't just extend to people, it also extends to animals for some people. So we can pick up on at least what if animals are feeling uncomfortable or hurt or in pain, or we can pick up on those things. And if we are more attuned to it, we could probably communicate with them on some level, as an empath. So yes, so for those of you who are just joining, we're welcoming questions, but we're touching on what it means to be an empath. So if there's anything you want to ask about that, you're welcome to ask. Then we're also going to be moving on to grounding techniques and protection and raising your vibration. So maybe we'll just give it a second to accommodate.
Just so on my version, I can't see the chat. So
okay, that's fine.
At least we can share.
Yes. That's fine. So I'll be sure if there's a question, I'll read it out. So far, it's just a few people who have just been greeting. So Samantha says hi too. She can't see you.
Yeah, hi guys. I can't see your individual chats or anything, but
hi Sandy. Okay, so Sandy wants to know how to deal with an energy vampire. Well, she's referring. Hers is a little closer. She's referring to a child. I imagine that your child is your child still young, living with you, Sandy, or is your child older? Hey, Becca.
hey Becca.
So now that will basically cover, but we can elaborate more on energy. I'll be more specific to energy vampires. So thank you for the reminder when we talk about grounding and protection. Okay, so your child is 18, so and boundaries, yes, that will fall under protection. I would say. So maybe we would start with protection and then move on to grounding. Yeah, so we could.
Yeah, we can do that.
So yeah, let's start with the boundaries and protection. Okay, but Annie, you're talking more about personal boundaries, or are you talking about expressing your boundaries, or just like you would know what I'm talking about when I talk about putting yourself in a protected bubble. So, because Allie's asking about boundaries, so I just want to know if she means speaking out or just
there's a couple of different
establishing
ways you can
your
use
own
boundaries.
Okay, so let me start while I wait for like more questions. So what I like to do in terms of protection, and when I started out doing this, I used to have to do it quite regularly throughout the day. Okay, she's asking if boundaries are how you deal with energy vampires. Well, yes and no, but yeah, depends on the boundaries. But okay, we'll touch on that when we get to that. So protection. When I started out, I had to do it frequently throughout the day, and it was exhausting for me at first because I had to constantly keep putting up the protection. But it becomes almost, habitual. They say it takes 30 days or however long to form a habit. So once you get used to it, you'll only have to put it up like once, and then it will stay up, and you'll feel when it goes down. So so it's not a constant thing anymore. So the way I like to do it is I like to envision myself inside a bubble, and surround myself with white light. If you can visualize it, that's awesome. But if you can't, then just imagine that the bubble is there and that you're protected. And I work with archangels. You may choose to work with a different deity or different goddess if you so choose, but I work with archangels. So I would call upon Archangel Michael and ask him to protect me from any energies that do not serve me. And then I would imagine that any negative energies that comes towards me reflects off the bubble and reflects away from me. And then I'd ask that, so harming none. So I would say, Archangel Michael, please surround me with your white light and protect me from any negative energies that do not serve me, and send them away from me in a manner that harms none. So anything along those lines. That's a simple way that I would do that. In terms of protection. Is there a different way that you use, Samantha?
So I do something different. I was very similar as well when I first started using these tools. That at the beginning was very intense, was constantly like reminding myself and cleansing my energy again, all of that. And now it's kind of dwindled down to like maybe once a day I do it, maybe twice if it's been a really stressful day. And my version of doing it is I love to be barefoot anyway, so because that's always a big thing with grounding, specifically outside. If you can put your feet outside to feel the dirt, even better. And that's just a personal opinion. But I put my feet down. I do envision the white light above my head, and I typically ask for my spirit team. I ask for my grandmother in particular. She's one of my biggest guides. So I ask her to kind of come in, and I ask for all of my energy to be cleansed, and for all of my energy to be returned to me. That is mine. And then to also release any energy that is not mine, that doesn't serve my highest good for me to have it. And so I usually do that in the beginning of the day, to start my day. And then if I'm working, I have a high stress job. So I typically like to do that before work, before getting out of my car, just to kind of re-amp the protection piece of it, that I'm not picking up on everything. And I do feel that it works for me. And then, like I said, I do it again at the end of my day before I go to bed. Typically, I'll put my feet at the end of my bed, do the white light, ask for all of my team to be there, and then I also continue it to with including my sleep, that they continue to be there throughout my sleep and watch over me, make sure that I'm not picking up any energy in my dreams, anything like that. And that seems really helpful as well, because I used to have very vivid, like almost nightmares a couple of years ago, and those have completely stopped since I started using these tools. So
there's also, in terms of protection, if we will elaborate more on it when we discuss crystals, but crystals are also a way that you can protect yourself. I personally prefer a black obsidian. Black tourmaline is also good, but I think it's a bit more expensive than obsidian. And a friend of mine, I gifted her with white howlite at one time, and she took it to work, and that helped to protect her from negative energies at work. I haven't personally tried that one myself, but I've heard other people say it. So we'll touch on it more. There's obviously a few crystals you could use, but for me, black obsidian, I never am without it, especially in my workspace, where I work. So so that's another way, but we'll elaborate more on that when we have our episode on crystals, because that could take a whole session. We're already 15 minutes in, but okay, I just wanted to elaborate on your method of protection also works as grounding, because it all ties in. You're just combining the whole thing together. There's also a couple of simple ways, but in terms of specifically of dealing with energy vampires, that's the one way. Like, if you protect yourself when you know you're going to be in their company or being in their presence, make sure you protect yourself in one of the other methods, surrounding yourself or putting yourself in the bubble, or surrounding yourself with protective light, and calling on whoever you work with specifically to protect you and to reject any energy that doesn't serve you. So that's your start. You can't control necessarily how they are towards you, but rather just how the energy affects you. So that would be, so I guess we can move on to going with grounding techniques. So the first one on my list actually was the connecting with nature. So spending time barefoot on the grass, and feeling the earth beneath your feet, and paying attention to the sights and sounds and the smells that are around you. So this will help you feel centered and connected, and help bring you also work with a number of things. It helps you more connected with your higher self and your guides. So that's just like, I actually had, Ali can share the, she's Anya, but I actually once, I actually took her to a doctor when she was younger. I can't remember what exactly was wrong with her, but she went through a whole physical checkup, and at the end of it, the doctor said, she's basically perfect, but if she wants to be more perfect, she should just go and stand outside on the grass. That was like,
that's funny.
Yeah, it was unusual advice for me at the time, because that was before I started in my spiritual path. But now I realize that was actually pretty good advice. So
yeah,
but the other thing is to practice mindfulness. That's through meditation and deep breathing. So I don't know if do you want to share about do you do the grounding and the roots, the breathing with roots?
I mean, I do box breathing at times. Sometimes it honestly, and this is the whole thing with any tool or trick or tip with protection. There's a time and a place for everything, right? So there's certain times that I'll do the chanting actually. When I'm doing root chakra meditation in particular, I'll envision red. I'll wear red. I'll eat something red typically. I kind of go all in when I'm working with a specific chakra like that. So in meditation, in that way, I do, like that to really work on the security piece that goes with the root, which is all about that grounding piece. But the other thing I was going to say too, that I have found with the mindfulness piece, recently, like I want to say like in the last few weeks, I was talking to my therapist about it, just about kind of getting back into our bodies. Because I feel like we as a society kind of struggle with that. We're kind of always looking outward instead of focusing what's going on inside. And I think some of that's just because the stress and the pressure of day-to-day life, especially here in America, I know it's kind of just go, 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 go all the time. So I think sometimes it's a little bit more of a struggle. But one of the tools that she taught me was to pause often and to ask yourself, how does a specific body part feel? So for me, I'll stop maybe, 5-10 times a day and say, how does your hair feel right now? It sounds really silly, but if you stop and think about that and really drop in, how does your hair feel? How does it feel on your body? How does your left pinky feel? It stops you from overthinking, and the brain really pulls you down into your body, not only engages your brain to focus on something else very specific, so it stops that overthinking piece, but it also really kind of pulls you back into your body so that you can kind of go, what's the problem here? What do I need right now? Let me take a second and pause. So I love doing that. That has been the coolest trick that I have found recently. And it's really made me slow down a lot throughout my day. So I love it.
So that's basically part of healing also, but that's your body scan. Essentially, when you as you breathe in, when you're doing breath work and you breathe in, and as you breathe in, you pay attention to how every part of your body feels as you go down. And once you're feeling calmer, you do another scan to check to see if anything's changed or if anything has stayed the same. So so that's any kind of breath work. That I think that could be a whole discussion on its own. Meditation and breath work.
Yes,
we can maybe discuss more in detail in another episode. So we've already touched on protective visualization. So that we've already done. And setting boundaries. So setting boundaries is learning to say no without guilt or explanation, and communicating your boundaries clearly with others. So and to avoid overextending yourself or taking on other people's emotions or responsibilities where you can help it. Look, you don't have to take on everybody's energies, but yes, of course, sometimes people are put in our path for us to help them or support them in some way, but you don't want to hang on to it. You don't need to do that for everyone in every space, because it can become quite exhausting for you to go out in public as an empath if you're taking on everybody's energies. I mean, you can't help everybody constantly, so...
But I think that's a big piece of it too, that, I think as empaths, we need to recognize that when we have a very open energy where we are sucking up everything, we're also energetically opening ourselves up to being asked by a lot of different people. We're attracting people asking us for things and needing us and please help me, please do this for me, I need you. And that really, that is the moment where we should be standing on our nose and our boundaries and going, you know what, I've got enough things on my plate right now. I don't owe this person an explanation. No, exactly. I'm just not doing it. And there's nothing wrong with that. And that's the other piece of it too, that I think we struggle with a lot, is that guilt piece. especially people who are, I'm 36 years old, and I can happily say that for 30 years, I was very much a people pleaser. I wanted people to like me all the time. And I didn't care if I didn't have any sleep or anything like that. It just, I wanted that person to approve of me. And now, even now saying no sometimes is hard for certain people because I have that emotional attachment to them. And I still kind of feel like, well, if I say no, they're going to be upset. But, sometimes it's not about them. It's about me. That's my journey. So, and that's a piece I think everybody needs to remember, is that it's your own personal journey. You're your own main character in your own story. And if that upsets somebody else, that's fine. They're not a main character in your story. It's okay.
At least you learned quicker than me. I was 40 before I started, because we taught like the next thing on the list here is about practicing self-care. But we taught that when you put yourself first, it's selfish. So we're taught that, especially if you grow up in a church or Christian background, they teach you that you put others first. Everybody else comes first.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but it's important for you to make time for yourself and engage in activities that bring you joy and relaxation. Salt baths are beneficial. I don't know if this one, if I've got it on this thing, but the other way is also like when you, at the end of the day, if you rather shower and you don't have a salt bath, that falls under visualization. As you're showering, you just imagine as the water washes over you, that all the negative energy or the energy that doesn't belong to you washes off you and down the drain. So that falls under practicing yoga is a good one, or whatever, like anything, like even if it's whatever you enjoy, if you want to read a book or spend time with loved ones that are not draining, anything that you want to do. Yes, we're discussing the Heather's on here to say boundaries plus self-care is extremely necessary for our own mental, spiritual, and physical health. Yes, and that was the next thing I was about to say, is taking care of your physical health is also important. You were mentioning also about the depending on which chakra you're working on, and like wearing colors. I'm learning about that too lately, that the colors you wear definitely do affect how your emotional state and the mood, the tone that you're going to set for the day. So, and also like you said, you might eat red food or whatever depending on that. Intuitive eating, I think. I'm not going to discuss diets exactly because, I mean, obviously we're not medical professionals, although you work in the medical industry, don't you?
I do.
So, but
I'm not going to give medical advice.
Yes, we're not going to give medical advice or anything, but so obviously with your own personal issue, go through the right channels. But I find that like when I set my mind to, because I have some health conditions, so when I set my mind to like, okay, I'm supposed to be eating less carbs, then I've lately been getting, because I've set that mindset, so now when I do eat carbs, I get full more quickly than what I would before, so when I've had enough in it might not be full, but specific to like the carbs, okay, I've had enough of that now, so so I stopped there. So I feel like that is helpful, but it starts with setting an intention. So even if you are following, if you don't set that intention, you're not gonna pay attention to your health anyway, no matter what your doctor tells you.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's a choice from within, I think, too, and that's where it all starts, is within. When we make that decision, okay, I'm going to take care of my physical body, right, and then the actions have to support that. But if you have both, you have your intentions and your actions are supporting that intention, you're going to do well. But you have to have that feeling inside first that you've made that decision to act appropriately that way. And that's the other, rough part of manifestation and grounding in our vibration and all of that. If your vibration isn't a match to what you're asking for, you're not going to get it. But it's not because you're necessarily doing something wrong. It's because your vibration isn't on that path level yet to go.
Yes.
So, and I'm rambling now. I'm going into other things. So
that's fine. So Harry Petrie's asking about handling confrontation. So I think that's like another whole topic, although these techniques could be helpful if it's particularly with setting boundaries or protecting yourself, um, your energies from that, and like releasing it, because what this will do is it will help change how you continuously feel about something. So you can release what doesn't, what isn't all that important. Otherwise you hold on to resentment and anger that might not be necessary at the end of the day, and you can at least eliminate the emotions that are not needed. And I would say that in terms of handling confrontation, when you release your emotional attachment to the outcome, that would at least aid you in having a more favorable outcome for the confrontation, or eliminating it depending on the situation.
Yeah, I was going to say, it depends. I kind of get the vibe for this, but I'm also going to say too that it depends too on the situation, because sometimes people are just looking to pick a fight with us, right? And so we don't see it coming. Sometimes
Yes.
we're thrown off a little bit at times. And in those particular circumstances, what I like to try to do is instead of jumping right away to the defensive of like, oh, I need to protect myself to go head to head with this person, I kind of go, okay, so they're angry anyway, but that's got nothing to do with me. This is all internal, but it is a very quick process, but it did take me a while to get there, that I had to remind myself that this person coming at me is not really angry at me. Got really nothing to do with me. So it's okay. Let them be upset. Listen and see if there's something that I can do to diffuse the situation so the person isn't so angry anymore, to really discuss what's going on here. What's the actual issue? Can I help with something? And then there's other ones where that like they're you have that one coworker that's a complete butthole that you have to deal with. So I'll set an intention at the beginning of, when I know that I'm going to have to act around this person, I have to be around them, I'm stuck with them, right? So I'll set the intention. It is not my job to argue with people. I'm not here to defend myself. I don't need to prove anything to anybody. I'm perfectly fine how I am. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I don't need to prove that to anyone. And that's basically, enough of a reminder for me when dealing with that person throughout the rest of that shift, that I don't try to sit next to them. I don't try to have little conversations, so that's me protecting my energy. I know I don't need to sit next to this person. I can go sit somewhere else. Fine. So I think sometimes it just kind of depends on the situation that we're asking for, but all of it really leads back to mindfulness and then intention setting of who do you want to be in those situations. Do you want to be someone who easily gets sucked into things and argue over something that really doesn't matter? Or, are you going to save your energy for things that do matter?
Yeah, exactly. And if you practice, if you're not in a correct space energetically, or your vibration is low, this is not necessarily going to help you in the moment. So like if you're not already practicing these things, and tomorrow you go and have a confrontation, it's not going to take you a couple of seconds to get yourself in that right space. So it's important that you practice this regularly anyway, so that when you're faced with that confrontation, you can take a beat and do that internal process, quickly. Otherwise, it's going to take a bit longer to deal with it at the end of the day. And then back to carrying crystals with you, these things can also help protect your energy, and they can also alter your emotional state if you believe in their healing qualities. I mean, they do have healing properties, but you need to accept that as well. And crystals can also help absorb negative energies and keep you grounded. In terms of stress and anxiety, my personal favorite would have been the tiger's eye, but there's a few that you can use. And if it's about confrontation where you need to be able to speak up for yourself, then blue crystals like blue lace agate would be helpful for that as well. But yeah, and then also the last one I have, is about practicing emotional release. So this is finding ways to express and release your emotions, which can be through journaling or talking with a therapist even, or somebody that you feel comfortable talking to. Some people use outlets like art or dance. I don't know about Anya, but even singing, if you're somebody who enjoys singing, then that can also help ground you and, help you find peace. But yeah, again, if we're talking about specific confrontation, I mean, you could, depending on how confident you feel with yourself, just like walk away and hum a tune. I also read like recently that humming also helps you raise your vibration. So
yeah, I've actually heard about that physiologically too. If you do humming long enough, you actually increase your CO2, which causes
yes.
your brain to kind of relax a little bit more as well. So if we're in that heightened state, where we're stressed and things are just kind of right? Just humming to yourself for a couple of minutes will really get you to kind of relax, because it relaxes the neuron brain pathway. I read a whole study about it. So,
and of course, there's a lot more detail than we're giving you.
Right, exactly. So there's more to it, but I know that it's pretty cool. And I've tried it a couple of times, in particular when I've been stressed out with people and stuff, and I found myself almost intuitively like just starting to hum randomly throughout my shift, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Do you want to add anything in terms of raising your vibration? Because I feel like practicing a lot of these things, and I mean, meditation could be a whole other talk, because there's, a whole other episode, because we could elaborate on that a lot. But I feel like all of these things can help raise your vibration.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add?
One thing I did want to touch on, just because I love it so much and I have such a passion for it, we haven't touched on it, is sound healing or sound frequencies for raising your vibration. Okay. So 417 hertz is my favorite to listen to, and that connected with the heart chakra and letting go. So that's one of the great ways to do an emotional release, so to speak, without really kind of doing anything. All you have to do is sit there and listen and feel the music, really. So it's kind of a more passive way to do some healing work, right? And raise that vibration. But I also love all of the tuning forks that go throughout all of the chakras. That's one of a great way to meditate and raise your vibration almost kind of quickly, because there's some really like shorter videos on YouTube that you can use, like, and I'm talking like 15 minutes. And they're great to use throughout the day. So that was one thing that I wanted to touch on in terms of raising your vibration or feeling kind of low or going into stressful situations or anxiety situations. These are more tools that you can kind of grab to really quickly and kind of go, okay, I'm going to use this right now. So, those are my thoughts.
Yeah. Do you know, like, okay, so all of these things, if you're struggling with them on your own, you could work with an energy healer of your preference. Do you know somebody? Do you offer sound healing as a service, or do you know people, like, if they had to ask, that you could refer?
Say it again.
Like, do you offer sound healing as a service yourself, or do you know?
I don't currently offer sound healing. I do have one gal. I just don't know if she does any sessions. So let me double check with her before our next episode, and we can talk about. I can touch on that. But she's in Chicago, so for anybody who's around here, you can definitely reach out to me and ask me about that if you want to get in touch with her. And because she used to do it, and she hasn't done it in a while, but she used to do like once a month, like a sound healing session where they had like gongs and like different crystal bowls and things like that. It was very cool to like go in there and just chill out for an hour and take like a little nap and feel refreshed and healed when you were done. But she hasn't done one in a while, so I don't know if there's something going on with that or if it's just been kind of like on the back burner right now, but I can definitely.
Okay. Well, for those who are watching that are in South Africa and Johannesburg area. I do know somebody who offers that as a service, and I'm pretty sure my daughter knows somebody as well that that she's gone to. And yeah, I know somebody that I work with on occasion that I've had a session with. So if anybody would like referrals for that specifically, then you could reach out to me. And yeah, and if I just also wanted to add as like a last, because I think we're coming to the end now, or was there anything else we needed to talk about? I don't have questions, any more questions, yeah, so.
No. What are we talking about next week or 2 weeks?
Oh, yes, I wanted to say, so the next episode, we're going to do it next week, or we're going to wait 2 weeks? We're going to...
I believe 2 weeks, just so okay. I'm going to be here without work.
Okay. Oh, yes, yeah, because you're at the next. So in 2 weeks, then we will have our next episode, and then we'll be discussing intuition, how it works, as well as signs and synchronicities. So I wanted to add that. And also, if I will put the details in later, but if you would help, I mean, it's not essential. This is a free option, but if you would like to donate to either of us, I mean, you can send me stars, but I mean, then I'm not sure how I would share that with Samantha, but I will provide it in the comments if you guys would like to donate to either of us, how you could do that, but it's optional, not essential. But also we both offer services. I do readings and energy healing, Reiki, and quantum healing and past life regression therapy. So yeah, and Samantha will share what she does, but you can always reach out to either of us if you would like to book private sessions. And yeah. Samantha, you can share what you offer.
For any of those things, I do tarot, I do Oracle, Reiki. I do personal intuitive coaching. I do charms, charm readings, and candle magic, and manifestation coaching. So those are the big things that I work on.
Okay, great. And I think, yeah, we're both offering, you can ask us about our specials. We both have specials running for Black Friday this month. So, yes. Yeah. So, thank you for watching. And please do, you can still leave comments after the fact once it's closed off. So if you have any questions or ideas of what you would like to see us discuss in future episodes, please do so. And please do share this. You know, and do like, and if you don't already, subscribe to our pages, or yeah, I don't know, do you have a professional page? Can people follow you?
No, they can't follow me, not yet. I haven't done that yet. Okay. So maybe that'll be on things to do.
Okay, no, so that's fine. So you can find Samantha in her group or my group. you can follow my page, and this will be on YouTube, so please do subscribe. We may alternate where we share this, as we'd like to also try an episode on TikTok at some point. So so we may do that, but we will keep you posted. So thank you very much for watching, and we hope to see you next time.
Bye. Thanks, guys.
Bye.